Welcome back to Turning Hard Times to Good Times. I'm your host, Jay Taylor, and I'm really pleased to have with me once again Dr. Quinton Hennigh. Today he's with me to talk about a new sponsor to this show, Eloro Resources. The company's flagship project is the Iska Silver-Rich Polymetallic project in Bolivia. And Quinton is a technical advisor and senior business advisor to the company. Speaking with Quinton, I know that he believes the project not only has the right geology to potentially become very valuable, but it also has large scale. And it's one of the things that Dr. Quinton Hennigh is known for. He doesn't like to get involved in small projects because sometimes they're more trouble than they're worth. But he sees something here apparently that he really likes, or he wouldn't have gotten involved with it. Eloro Resources trades in Toronto under the symbol ELO. You can buy it in the U.S. as I have under the symbol ELRRF. About 51.7 million shares, I believe, after they just did a financing. They're raising a little over $6 million in Canadian money. And from what I can see, management institutions own more than half of the shares of this company. So it's a very tight share float. Obviously, I think with some good news, these shares could move fairly rapidly. I saw before the show they were trading at $1.47 U.S. money, giving it a market cap around $76 million. Still a very low market cap if this is something large scale in this bull market. So it's something that I'm really watching very carefully. It's something that I want to keep on top of because I think there's a chance to make a lot of money with this company. Thank you so much for joining me, Quinton. It's really good to have you with me again.
Pleasure, Jay.
I'd like to ask you. I want you to do the talking today, and I want to shut up as much as possible. My wife tells me that's what I need to do more, so I'm obedient to her. But when we think about Bolivia, it's really an area that's a country that we've stayed away from to a great extent. Investors have been uneasy given the political situation there. Maybe you could just comment quickly before we get into the nuts and bolts of the project. What about Bolivia? Obviously, you must not be as fearful as you might have been in the past about Bolivia.
Well, look, Bolivia has gone through a lot of changes here. Actually, in the past year, they've had elections recently. The old regime is out, which is good in my view. There seems to be an openness and appetite for investment, in particular in mining, with the new president. I think this is a good sign. I did look when this opportunity first landed in my inbox back in May. I talked to people I know at Sumitomo. Sumitomo has San Cristobal mine nearby.
Oh, yeah.
I talked to some others too, but basically I wanted to get a sense of what Bolivia is like. Look, no place is perfect by any stretch, but I guess overall I get the sense the overall trajectory of the political and social environment was improving. And you see this phenomena regularly amongst many countries around the world as they go in cycles. They'll have ups and downs, but when things improve, you kind of want to be in there, as a first mover. Look at some of the countries that got into Ecuador, for example. Now Ecuador is viewed as a very favorable jurisdiction for mining. I think Bolivia is heading in that same direction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, these countries find out they have to find a way of generating wealth, and when you start with mining, that's a great way to generate wealth for the whole country. It's a starting point. Okay, so talk about Iska project there in Bolivia. What caused you to get interested in this from a geological perspective, Quinton? And maybe you comment on the people that you're working with as well.
Yeah, sure. Let's start with the people. Look, Tom Larson heads the company. Tom is a very savvy guy. Also operates really well. Like, keeps his companies tight, and the financing's like what we just did is minimal dilution, et cetera. This is what investors like. We got Bill Pearson, a well-known geologist. He had a wild success there at Desert Sun, which sold to Yamana. By the way, his comments about Iska is this is the most exciting project he's ever worked on. I tend to agree with him about the potential. So anyway, Bill's a really solid guy to work with, and I enjoy working with him. We also though have a very important member in Bolivia. Look, we've got Osvaldo Arce. Dr. Arce is basically the guy who wrote the book. I mean, literally wrote the book on these styles of deposits, and they're not unique per se to Bolivia, but they're certainly a district scale geology here that at play. They're basically driven by intrusives, call them porphyries if you want, that have come up in a cluster in kind of south central Bolivia. And talk about metal endowment. These things really generate world-class deposits. Now, to give you an example, why Isca Isca? Well, look, Isca Isca is literally due south of Potosi, or some people call it Potosi as well, depending on how you like to pronounce it. But Potosi was the biggest single silver district, period, on Earth. Okay. These magmas that come up, they tend to generate large disseminated deposits, but they can also have kind of almost an epithermal overprint, which in places can be very high grade. All right, so these can have kind of the low grade disseminated nature, but also have a higher grade bonanza style mineralization associated with them. There's plenty of other examples in the region. I mean, there's in operating mines, you got San Cristobal, like I mentioned, which is Sumitomo, which is due west of us. And that deposit was the single largest silver producer on an annual basis for several years here recently. It was producing, I believe, somewhere around 25 to 30 million ounces of silver per year. And, of course, the lead and the zinc was covering most of the costs, so the silver production was effectively $0. Just an incredible deposit. So Isca Isca, well, look, this is one of these types of systems. There's probably about 15, 20 deposits in this region of this ilk. I would say Isca Isca shares more similarities with Potosi than any other deposit in the region. In other words, its position within the porphyry and near-surface environment is almost identical to Potosi. You see, geologically, we see the overprint of the high-grade mineralization on that porphyry environment, the more disseminated style environment, and then we see scale. I mean, the thing is absolutely immense. Okay, so we started drilling, I believe, September, and we've announced a few holes, good intercepts. Look, to give people a perspective of what we're trying to find. What we're looking for is a deposit that's going to be very large, maybe hundreds of millions of tons, or even upwards of 1 billion tons. And it's polymetallic, so you kind of have to, look at it, kind of normalize it. And, the best way to think about it is silver equivalency. Mm-hmm. So it might say 3 to 5 ounce silver equivalents. Okay, so you might have you'll have lead, you'll have zinc, maybe even a bit of gold. There might be other things in there, copper, tin, bismuth, and some other exotic metals like indium. But in as a whole, if you kind of mentally convert it to silver equivalency, you can kind of rationalize the intercepts that we have. And so far, the results are quite good. Now, those first 5 holes that we published a few weeks ago were just short holes drilled from an underground working. We actually started drilling underground, believe it or not. The reason was because there's an access and adit that goes in. The topography is incredibly steep, so accessing the top of the hill is a challenge. Now, we do have a road up to the top now, and we're able to drill from surface. But the initial holes were drilled from underground, and they targeted a little breccia pipe that had some pretty good numbers. But we soon recognized that the breccias to the southwest and to the south from there are much, much bigger. Okay, so later in the year, and you can see some of the core photos, I think, published in the most recent update about the project, we drilled some beautiful holes in the Santa Barbara breccia, but also the bigger one that's to the south. The hole went into there. Look, when you start seeing breccia pipes that are hundreds of meters across, like 400, 800 meters across, and you're seeing sulfide mineralization, down these breccia pipes, basically like ad nauseum. I mean, these things just go and go and go. You're into a big system. I'm very excited about the prospects. We don't have assays yet for the holes that were drilled late in the year, But I very much hope to see some good results. What do we expect? Well, look, I would say if we start seeing intervals of 100 plus meter, maybe hundreds of meters in some cases, of 3 to 5 ounce silver equivalency, that in my book is a discovery. Okay, and I think that this project has that kind of potential. I think we, once we get into the guts of it, I think we will see this thing deliver. That's my hunch. And I think that this could end up being one of the big silver discoveries in the past decade or two. So it's exciting. It's a very exciting story.
Yeah. So we're looking at a bulk mineable silver. Really, is it got any gold with it at all?
It does. This one does, which is interesting. Okay, we actually had some very high grade gold. In fact, you remember I said there's an overprint. You get this kind of overprint. We'll call it epithermal overprint on the system. So we do have gold in some places. Now it's not everywhere, but it's definitely part of the system. As we drill more, I think we'll learn more about how the gold is distributed through here. But I would say that gold will contribute significantly to the overall success of the project. But really, again, it's driven by silver plus lead, zinc, but also a few other elements: copper, tin, bismuth, indium, things like that.
Right, which with just about a minute and a half left here yet, metallurgical issues sometimes with these complex deposits. I mean, it's metallurgically complex when you have all these different kinds of metals mixed together.
I'm not too worried because you look at around us. There's plenty of operating mines that treat these types of ore bodies. So you get multiple different streams of concentrates. You do flotation. You collect a lead concentrate that might have a lot of silver. You might collect the zinc concentrate. You might collect a pyrite concentrate that has a bit of the gold. Whatever. But generally, these things are well behaved.
Yeah, and if you have a large enough deposit, valuable enough, you can afford the capital to build it and so forth. And I just have to. I mean, this is a company that's, as you said, structured very well. Its capital structure is very strong. It just raised some money. It's well funded, I guess, to take it into next year.
Correct. Yes, we're going to be very
this year, I should say.
Yeah, this year we're here. Yeah, look, the drill starts up again in about a week. They take Christmas break there. They work right up till Christmas, but now they've been off. But they'll fire up again on the 14th, I believe. The assay labs, again, they've taken a break, so we're not going to see assays until for a few weeks here. But look, we're going to go full guns here. We got $6.3 million, I believe, in the raise.
Yeah,
we're going to absolutely go pell-mell here.
And you got about 14 drill holes that are remaining. I mean, how soon do you think you might get the assays from that 19-hole program that you drilled already? Should be coming shortly.
Yeah, we'll start to see, they come back in lots. So we'll see some come back probably within the next 2 to 3 weeks. And then, but those last holes that we drilled, especially the one in the Santa Barbara pipe from surface, that one just, like, as you can imagine, you're standing on top of this massive pipe and you're drilling more or less straight down the guts of it. Yeah, that was an interesting hole.
Oh, we'll wait and see for it then. It should be very exciting. And very exciting also because I think we're moving into, Michael Oliver, who was on the first segment, is talking about his target late this year or into next year because he thinks the precious metals markets are on the verge of an explosive rise. He sees upwards to $200 silver sometime before this bull market is over. I don't want to hype this too much, but I am very excited about the project, and I do believe we're in the bull market of a lifetime in precious metals, and silver probably outperforms gold on the way up. So it could be very exciting. Quinton, thank you so much for being with us and explaining this new story, this new company to our radio show. Thank you so much for being with us.
No problem.